from Western North Carolina's news leader. This is News 13 This Morning.
Right now at 6, we are following 3 major stories here. First, President Trump is pushing for more border security on his trip to the border today.
Next, here in the mountains, we are under a wind advisory again this morning. Those winds are strong enough to knock trees and utility poles down. Plus, breaking overnight, a deputy-involved shooting in the mountains. We are just minutes away from a live report.
But first, it's the crisis in Washington. The government shutdown enters day 20.
Here's Kristen Holmes.
Good morning. Well, in just a few hours, President Trump will depart the White House and head here to where we are, just south of McAllen, Texas, along the U.S.-Mexico border. What we know of his trip so far, he's going to be visiting a U.S. Border Patrol station. He's going to participate in an immigration roundtable, and he's going to get a border security briefing. Now, the big question here is how all of this will fit into the negotiations on the government shutdown, which continues on with no end in sight. As the government shutdown drags on, President Trump taking his case for a border wall to McAllen, Texas, visiting the U.S.-Mexico border city as negotiations between the White House and Democrats to reopen the government remain stalled over the president's demand for wall funding. The trip coming a day after President Trump walked out of a meeting with Democrats.
He asked Speaker Pelosi, "Will you agree to my wall?" She said no. And he just got up and said, "Then we have nothing to discuss," and he just walked out.
President Trump later tweeting that the discussions were a total waste of time. Vice President Pence defending the president's tactics.
But what the president made clear today is he is going to stand firm to achieve his priorities, to build a wall.
While Republicans on Capitol Hill seemed to be getting anxious.
How can we resolve this? We owe it to the American people. This is like a circus.
I want to try to figure out a way that we're able to reopen quickly.
Meanwhile, 800,000 federal employees remain without a paycheck.
He thinks maybe they could just ask their father for more money, but they can't.
So, of course, you hear Speaker Pelosi, they're taking a jab at President Trump and his wealth. But it should be noted that because the government stayed shut through yesterday, those government employees will miss their first paycheck, which was scheduled for tomorrow. So a lot of questions here as to how long this can possibly go on. Reporting live in Hidalgo, Texas, I'm Kristen Holmes. Back to you.
We turn now to the weather. Get your winter gear out. It is bitterly cold this morning. This is a live look from our Hotel Indigo camera from I-240 at the Jeff Bowen Bridge.
And you can see that camera shaking out there. That's because it is very windy out there, and this morning we are actually under a wind advisory. Once again, let's send things over to Karen Wynn here in the Weather Center. Karen, a lot going on, chilly temperatures, but also windy conditions.
Oh, definitely so. In fact, we have a current wind chill right now in Asheville of 11 degrees. That's how cold it feels. Down to 2 for the current wind chill up in Boone. Fortunately, it's not that breezy everywhere, but certainly a cold start to your morning. And we do have that high wind warning remaining in effect for a little while longer until 7 for our northern mountain counties. There have been quite a few power outages reported in this area, and then we have a wind advisory, and that continues for the rest of western North Carolina again until 7 o'clock. And we do have those very, very gusty winds as we go on through the morning, even beyond 7. It is going to remain gusty and cold, 26 at 9 o'clock, 28 at 11, and with the brisk winds again feeling even cooler than that. Rosie?
Thanks, Karen. Well, now we have your weather and traffic together every 10 minutes. I do have an alert for you to be aware of. Let's take a look at those graphics. First, you can see there's only a little bit of yellow out there. Everything does look good, but 26 exit ramp is closed at exit 54, which is, of course, the Greenville connector off 26 westbound. That's near East Flat Rock. Now, a pavement collapse actually happened on the ramp, suddenly opened up. That hole is now 15 feet deep. Officials believe the collapse is related to the interstate's drainage system. There's no word yet on how long this ramp will remain closed. Of course, I will have an update for you as soon as I get any new information. But let's take a look at 26 Long Shoals Road, courtesy of our Lester Flooring Skycam network camera. Of course, that's our Biltmore Park cam. You can see everything's running smoothly there right now. No issues. You can see there is a little bit of congestion going down towards exit 54, but again, this is a little bit north of that, so we don't see any issues out there right now. But of course, I will have an update for you in just about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks, Rosie. And now back to that breaking news from overnight. A deputy in Rutherford County shoots a suspect after investigating a suspicious vehicle.
News 13's Lauren Brigman joins us live from the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office. Lauren, how did all of this unfold?
So the deputy was sent to check out that suspicious vehicle, and turns out one of the passengers inside had an open warrant for failure to appear on some prior charges. So when that deputy approached the passenger, he took off on foot, and that's when a fight ensued. Take a look at the mugshot for the suspect in this case, 31-year-old Paul Wren. He had an outstanding warrant for failure to appear, and the sheriff's office says this incident happened just before 7 yesterday evening near the intersection of Sarah Lee Road and Piney Knob Road here in Rutherford County. Authorities say Wren began to fight with the deputy, hit him on the head with a blunt object, and the sheriff says when Wren tried to get the deputy's taser, that's when the deputy fired one shot. Both the deputy and Wren were taken to Rutherford Regional Hospital. After being released, Wren was arrested. Now, the SBI was also called in to investigate this case. As of now, the deputy's identity has not yet been released. We're also still working to learn how that deputy is doing this morning. Reporting live in Rutherford County, Lauren Brigman, News 13.
Also developing overnight, a police officer is shot in the face in Raleigh. It happened as that officer was responding to a suspicious vehicle call last night around 10 o'clock. This morning, 2 suspects are in custody. The officer was rushed to the hospital and taken into surgery around 11 o'clock. No word on his condition this morning. Marion police are investigating an early morning stabbing. It happened yesterday morning across the street from a pizza restaurant on Highway 221 North. Police say Griffin Crawford and Ethan Landis got into an altercation. Crawford was stabbed in the stomach and was transported to Mission Hospital. Police are still investigating what led to that incident.
An update this morning on a McDowell County apartment complex evacuated Tuesday afternoon due to sinkhole concerns. Many of those people are still working to move all of their belongings out because they're not sure if they'll ever be able to return. Larry Green with the Homeowners Association is meeting with engineers, inspectors, and local officials today to figure out the next step. They now have hired someone who will come in and lower the lake behind the complex to try and get a closer look at what's causing the sinkhole. But with that comes a bigger issue.
What we're trying to do is to find out what to do with that water that's in the lake that we're going to pump out. And of course it has to be done very carefully, pumping it out, because it could cause a collapse.
Green says a local land surveying firm also has been hired to monitor the movement of the buildings.
An update on a lion attack in the Tar Heel State. Coming up, the key factor in that lion that killed an intern that investigators have found out this morning.
Rebuilding 3 months after Hurricane Michael, how Florida's new governor plans to help one ravaged city get back on its feet. New video this morning of a monumental move. Literally, the oldest synagogue in Washington, D.C. was moved yesterday. It was only moved a few blocks away, but it was still a sight to see.
Yeah, it's huge. The giant building from the 1800s rolled down the street strapped to a massive flatbed. The short drive took more than 4 hours.
Wouldn't that be wild to see?
Yeah, and it's nice that they're keeping that old building, right, as opposed to just tearing it down.
Sure.
So, there you go.
I wonder what it costs, though, Karen, to move that thing.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't even begin to tell you. Definitely interesting, though, and the winter storm system coming our way over the weekend, interesting too. Right now, we are looking at more of a wintry mix than a snow event. Looks like the low impact in the snow and sleet category, with freezing rain and rain having more of an impact across the entire region. We'll time it out for you hour by hour, and right now, as far as the snow chances go, it looks like Saturday evening is the best chance for that light snow, and then we see that turning over to freezing rain as we go through Saturday night on into Sunday morning, and then over to regular rain as we go through Sunday afternoon. We'll have much more on what we're thinking as far as snowfall amounts coming up a little later on.
Good morning. Now I have your weather and traffic together every 10 minutes. I want to start out by showing you this wide map of Asheville and the surrounding areas. You can see there's a little bit of yellow right here, but nothing to really be concerned about. But there is one alert I do need you to know about. I'll move out of the way so you can see this for yourself. Now there is construction happening all the way down here on 26. Basically, the 26 exit ramp is closed at exit 54. Of course, that's the Greenville connector. It's off of 26 westbound. That's near East Flat Rock. Now I'm told a sinkhole actually opened up right near the ramp ramp. That hole is now 15 feet deep. Now, officials believe that this collapse has something to do with the interstate's drainage system. I have no word yet on how long this ramp will remain closed, but I will keep you updated. Any new information, of course, will be going on our website, on our social media, and right here on air. But let's take a look at that Biltmore camera. Now, 26 at Long Shoals Road, courtesy of Lester Flooring Skycam Network. Everything looks great out there right now. No congestion on the roads, no issues because of exit 54 being closed. But of course, I will keep you updated. I have another update for you coming up in just 10 minutes.
All right, Rosie, thanks. But still to come this morning, a lawsuit is filed against the former Asheville City Police Chief. We'll tell you why coming up.
Our number of the day today is 25 miles per hour. That's the mast for automated vehicles. The slow speeds allow developers to avoid safety regulations that would apply to faster vehicles. Developing this morning, former Asheville Police Chief Tammy Hooper is being sued by a former employee. It's a lawsuit that stems from the beating of Johnny Rush.
News 13's Liz Birch has been following this story all morning long from the live desk. Liz, what have you learned?
Good morning. Well, former police officer Lisa Taube says she was singled out and made a scapegoat. In her lawsuit, Taube outlines the steps she took the night of August 24th, 2017, when Johnny Rush was beaten. She claims she did not violate policy because there was not a policy in place to govern her actions, specifically when it comes to watching body cam video. Hooper took issue with the fact Taube didn't watch it that night. Taube argues there's no policy requiring her to do that, and she had a month and a half to complete her review. The complaint goes on to say Taube was subjected to public humiliation, her family was threatened, and the nonprofit she'd been working with asked her to stop in the wake of media coverage of the incident and Hooper's comments. Taube also accused Hooper of retaliating against her for not participating in social events and for filing complaints with Human Resources. Now, former Police Chief Tammy Hooper told News 13 yesterday that she didn't believe there was anything to the lawsuit, saying, quote, "It's the same thing they were threatening before." You can find all of our previous coverage on this incident and the police department's response on WLOS.com. Back to you.
We have new findings about that deadly lion attack at the Conservator Center in Burlington. Investigators originally suspected the lion had rabies, but that test came back negative. Now officials are looking into whether or not any occupational safety and health standards were violated or contributed to the deadly incident. The lion attack led to the death of 22-year-old intern Alex Black.
A teenager dies after falling from a high rise in Miami. The teen, who would have turned 16 yesterday, fell off a 9th floor balcony. According to police, the teen was locked out of his condo, so he went to the one directly above and then tried to climb down. That is when he lost his grip and fell.
Florida's new governor spent his first full day in office touring what's left behind of Mexico Beach 3 months after Hurricane Michael. The Category 4 storm made a direct hit, ripping homes and businesses right in half, leaving only splinters in some spots. Governor Ron DeSantis met with the mayor and toured the ravaged city, meeting with the residents along the way. Governor DeSantis said the people in this community are resilient and will bounce back.
These people here are working awfully hard to try to put this back together. They need a little help, and so what I wanted to do is just talk to people, figure out what we could do to be helpful, and what they needed.
Governor DeSantis says he plans to continue to work closely with the city leaders to help in the rebuilding process.
It's been 1 year since the devastating mudslides in Montecito, California, and last night survivors and their friends gathered to remember the dozens of lives that were taken during that slide. Flash floods triggered the mudslides, damaging or destroying dozens of homes. Survivors say they are still trying to move on this morning.
I'm looking at it less of an anniversary than the first day in a new life.
23 people were killed in that mud flow.
New this morning, heavy winds toppled the large canopy of a gas station in the Pittsburgh area.
The awning and supporting pillars came down onto 2 vehicles. A firefighter estimates it all weighed about 10,000 pounds. No one was seriously hurt, although it was a close call for one man who was pumping gas right before the collapse. The owner of the gas station says they are investigating what caused it.
And your Harry's on the Hill bus stop forecast, a windy and cold one, mid-20s at pickup time with wind chills making it feel much colder. We have a current wind chill of 11 in Asheville. So make sure the kids are layered up and they're going to want that heavy coat pretty much all day long. Anyone out and about by midday, 29, and then only a couple of degrees above freezing at drop-off time. Little bit of light flurry action showing up here on radar. We have had reports of a few flurries, light snow showers in the northern mountains mainly. Bigger story, of course, the wicked wind chills that have brought down trees and power lines, leading to hundreds of power outages around the region. The feels-like forecast shows wind chills stay very low throughout the morning, only mid-teens by 10. Burnsville at 11 by 10 o'clock. Now later in the day with our winds coming down and the fact that we do warm up a little, wind chills come up into the mid-20s. Still very cold and very uncomfortable for much of us here in the mountains for pretty much all of the day. And for tonight, we're not going to be as windy, but we go down to a low near 20, and with a bit of a breeze, wind chills begin to go back into the teens. Fortunately, though, this cold area of high pressure slides off to the east of us on Friday. Friday afternoon should be sunny and warmer. That's going to be nice, mid-40s. But then we have our next storm system moving in for the weekend. And while we can't rule out a bit of a light wintry mix, early on Saturday, a lot of the rain, snow, sleet, freezing rain should hold off until later on Saturday on into Sunday. And right now it's looking more like a wintry mix scenario. More mixing, less snow with this area of low pressure staying more north on that north track, keeping the coldest air and the heaviest snow to the north of us. So probability of 2 inches of snow or more, very low around Asheville, only about a 30% chance, but that does go up as we head into the northern mountains of Yancey, Mitchell, and Avery counties. About a 3 on the snowman meter is what we're looking at right now. Highs today, very cold, the coldest day of the week. And as we go on through the week, we have a couple of weather-worn days on Saturday and Sunday with that wintry mix moving in. Rosie?
And now, your on-time traffic report, sponsored by Brian Easler Toyota.
Good morning. Now I have your traffic and weather together every 10 minutes. Let's take a look out here at Asheville and the surrounding areas. You can see there's a little bit of yellow right there near 26 and 240. There's also another area of yellow near Black Mountain on 40. Luckily, no accidents have been reported at this time, so there's just a little bit of congestion out there on the roads this morning. But other than that, everything's green, everything's looking good out there. Let's take a look at our Rug and Home camera. This is 26 at Brevard Road. You can see still pretty dark out there. Lots of lights. You can see the congestion out there on the road, especially going in that one direction over there. But so far, so good out there on the roads. But it's definitely a little chilly. If you're heading out to your car in a couple minutes, I would recommend running out there, turning the heat on before you head out. Also be aware your car may be moving back and forth a little bit. It is very windy out there, but I'll have another update for you coming up in about 10 minutes.
One fast food joint is going bacon crazy, plus what you need to know if you own a Toyota.
Maribel Aber is live in New York with these stories in today's Money Matters. Good morning.
Good morning, Holly and Katie. Toyota is recalling 1.7 million vehicles over airbag worries. So there's concern about the risk of flying shrapnel from exploding Takata airbag inflators. The recall covers certain Toyota models like the Corolla 4Runner as well as a variety of Lexus models. The vehicles are from 2010 with some as late as model year 2017. Owners will be notified of the recall, and you can check Toyota's website to see if your vehicle is affected. Sears chairman Eddie Lampert has increased his bid to save the bankrupt retailer. CNBC reports the new bid is around $5 billion, up from an initial bid of $4.4 billion. If Sears thinks the bid is viable, then Lampert can participate in a Monday auction for the chain. The other bidders plan to liquidate Sears, while Lampert plans to keep more than 400 stores open. McDonald's is all in on bacon. For a limited time at least, the fast food chain is rolling out 3 new menu items on January 30th. You'll be able to get cheesy bacon fries, a Big Mac bacon burger, and a quarter-pounder bacon burger. The trio will be available nationwide for a limited time. Holly and Katie. Man, cheese fries, that's my kryptonite. Add bacon, thank goodness it's a limited time.
Okay.
Thanks, Maribel.
Time right now, 6:24 award season heating up. Next and trending, the big nominees, plus the latest news in the Oscar host debacle. Trending now, the nominations are in for the BAFTA Awards, which is considered the British Oscars.
2 nominees set a record for nominations. Bradley Cooper received 5 nominations for A Star is Born. The filmmaker known for Roma was also recognized 5 times. BAFTA's overall favorite is The Favorite with a leading 12 nominations. The ceremony is February 10th in London. Kevin Hart has made it clear he's not hosting this year's Oscars. The comic actor said he's done apologizing and talking about old homophobic comments.
Last week, 2-time Oscar host Ellen DeGeneres appeared to convince Hart to reconsider, but now he says he wouldn't have enough time to prepare. The show is now just 6.5 weeks away. Still no word on a host.
And it will be interesting to see who really does end up hosting the Oscars. A lot of folks saying that it'll be people in the audience, that they're going to do something really interesting. So,
well, nobody will have time to prepare then.
Exactly.
It'll be
yep,
all
that's the point, right?
Yeah, exactly. Lauren.
This morning we are following a deputy-involved shooting here in Rutherford County. Coming up in just a few minutes in a live report, we'll tell you how they are both doing now.
A tree falls on a mobile home, pinning a child. Next at 6:30, how long it took rescuers to get that little boy trapped inside.